people, it's Mr. A again. I've got another assignment for us for the next couple of weeks, and I wanted to go over some of the details with you. We're going to be working on landscapes for the next 2 weeks in art class, and I wanted to go over a few notes with you. First of all, why are we doing landscapes and what are we going to be doing? And I'd like to combine 3 of our last assignments. We did a still life where we practiced shading and value and making things look lighter and darker. We're going to practice that when we do our landscapes. So we did this assignment where we have lights and darks and values on an object, and we're going to transfer it to this landscape where we also have lights and darks and values on the landscape with the trees and the buildings. We also did our Fibonacci spiral piece where we learned a little bit about composition and where to put the focal point on the artwork. And that's going to be a really great thing for us to practice doing on our landscape, is putting a strong focal point so that the viewer knows where to look. So we made these really great artworks where we used the Fibonacci spiral to find the focal point. We're going to simplify that with something called the rule of thirds to find the focal point in our landscape. And then the other thing that we did this last week was work on perspective with the 1-point perspective drawing or the 2-point perspective drawings. And that's really going to help us whenever we draw our landscapes, because there's not just plants and trees and hills, there are also buildings and tables and chairs. So you might remember this assignment when we used the vanishing point to find the depth in the picture. We can transfer that to our landscape, and we can use vanishing points to find the depth for buildings too. And we're going to put those 3 assignments together and work on our landscape. For the first week, week 1, we're going to take kind of a crash course landscape study. When an artist does something called a study, it's not really meant to be shown to the world. It's practice. So on the first day, we'll come out here to the courtyard and we'll practice doing a landscape. I'll give you advice. It'll be just between me and you, just for us to get an idea. On the second day of the first week, we'll go to a different location and we'll do another study, a practice somewhere, so that on week 2, when we're ready and we've done some practices and it's not something new or nervous, then we can spend the whole week working on one final landscape with good shading and composition and good perspective that's going to go on the walls that people can walk by and enjoy. That's what we're going to be doing for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to go over the rubric with some other photos in class. So we'll switch up the video a little bit for that. I look forward to seeing you there. Let's take a minute or 2 to talk about the rubric so that you guys know what sort of grade you're going to get before you even start the project. For the craftsmanship of the piece, it's all about how it looks and how much love you put into your picture. All the details matter. For the composition, everything that we learned in the Fibonacci piece comes into play, and how well you've got the focal point set up and how well the viewer can look at that focal point as the first thing that they see on the page. And for the conscientiousness, that's the nuts and the bolts of how everything is put together. And did you turn it in on time? Did you put the label on it? Did you photograph it correctly? These are details that really go a long way.